Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast, a member of the Hockey Podcast Network and the official podcast of Left Wing Lock. Joining me, as always, Bruce Gunther, John Enns, and Tyler Holman, back from the dead. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Hi. Glad to be back.
You
pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah, I'm here. You're not an audience member. You're actually you're a guest member.
Well, I thought that I was an audience member. You miss 1 week and then you just get to sit there and watch. So
And then you're on the outs.
thanks for the actual
only
link.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry
only
about
1
that,
week
boys.
you missed.
Well, I mean, in like the
Recently.
Yeah, recently. You know,
Recently.
you know.
Oh man, feels good to have the group back together. Of course, we love having Mike on. We've had Mike on for the past couple weeks, and Tyler didn't have you and holiday break, and so now back into the swing of things. Good to see. Here we are, episode 42. We're gonna do NHL Week 14 waiver wire picks and preview. Lots of news to get to. Lots of waiver wire picks. Lots of questions for Ask the Hacks. So it should be a good episode. But John, let's kick it off right away. Let's get to John's list, because I know Tyler can't wait. He's missed this.
Oh, I have.
Take it away, buddy.
Today's newest member of John's list is Brett Hull.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm okay with that.
Because I have this thing where I hate players who score more goals than they do assists. And I don't know why. This is like my big Ovechkin problem too. And Brett Hull kind of fits the same category for me.
Okay. I think that's a you problem, John.
Well, that's why it's my list. Get out of here.
I pulled up some numbers for Brett Hull here just because I knew we'd get into this right away. He's a 19-year NHL veteran. He's played 1,269 NHL games, 1,391 points, 741 goals. He's a 15.2% career shooter. FYI. That's pretty good.
Wow.
Could have been better, but you know.
But he's on the list.
He makes the list regardless. I don't care what you say.
He's kind of
Okay.
an arrogant
Plus
ass too. Anyways.
Well, I wasn't
yeah.
gonna say it, but yes, he is.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I'm okay with this, John, just for that reason.
that's why I'm here, because I will say it.
There you go. Love it.
And I appreciate that you'll say it. But,
Yeah.
you know, when Ovechkin passed Brett Hull, I don't think Hull was really that happy for him. And it didn't sound like his kid was that happy for Ovi either, right? He made some comment about, like, of course I'm not happy that he broke my dad's record. And I guess I understand that too. But why can't you just appreciate what Ovi's doing, right? So,
Because Ovi's a knob.
Ovi's 10 times the player Brett Hull was too. So
for sure. No question.
Definitely. Most definitely.
Okay. Any other comments or feedback for John and John's list? Tyler, I'm kind of pointing at you.
I think I'm good.
Okay. All right.
I got one thing. So does this mean Andrew Mangiapane is on this list too?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's got to be. He's trash.
Because he has more goals than assists this season.
Yeah.
He's trash. And actually, we'll talk about him
Super
in
trash.
Ask the Hacks. We're going to talk about him and Ask the Hacks a bit later. So, yeah. So, John, thanks for that. As always, we really enjoy John's list. It's always good stuff for us. Let's get to Fantasy Lock of the Week, December 27th to January 2nd. Sorry, that's wrong. January 2nd to January 9th. Presented by Left Wing Lock. We've got Bryan Rust, center left wing eligible, 73% rostered. 11 points, 7 goals, 1 game-winning goal, 2 power play goals, 2 power play assists, 14 shots on goal, plus 6, 65% power play share, and 18.5 minutes time on ice in 3 games played. He had a hell of a week.
Can't say I saw that coming.
No. We talked about him a little bit last week. Hey, Bruce, I happy to have that guy on my roster. He joins a rare list of players with 11 or more points through the first 3 games in a calendar year. It's kind of an oddball stat, but there's only a handful of players that have done it. I think the most recent player to do it was Mario Lemieux. So, FYI.
Wow.
There you go. Honorable mentions are going to go to Colorado's top line. Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, and Miko Rantanen. They combined for a total of 28 points and 9 goals through 4 games. They had a 68.71 Corsi 4 percentage, goals for percentage, 72.62 scoring chance for percentage, and a 75.76 high danger scoring chance for. They were absolute fire this week. Any other comments, John, Tyler, Bruce?
Did you watch the Colorado Winnipeg game?
No, that 7-1 drubbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that one.
That was it was just incredible watching Colorado play. They just in circles around Winnipeg. They didn't know what to do. It was just no matter where they went, there was a Colorado player. It was incredible.
I think most teams are probably feeling that way about Colorado right now.
Yeah, I think Toronto did too.
Also hard to believe that Nathan McKinnon only has 4 goals this season.
I actually didn't know that, Bruce. That's interesting.
They mentioned it in the game when he scored. It was only his 4th goal of the season.
Wow. And 2 of them this week. So
yeah.
But if they keep playing like this, like the possession numbers and just the scoring chances they're creating, the points they're putting up, that's not going to last for long, obviously.
Look what they did to the Leafs.
Well, that's what Tyler's just saying. Yeah, like it's kind of funny actually. Some of the memes that were floating around.
It was awesome. It was like Game 7 all over again.
Yeah, that 4-1 lead, right? They just can't help themselves. Yeah, some nice plays there from Colorado, and we'll talk about it a bit later. But Cale Makar's goal, might as well talk about it right now, I guess, since we're talking about Colorado. But yeah, so I don't know who wants to start. Bruce, you're the biggest Makar fan I know, so
I'm pretty sure I forget who was the person that went around the net with him, but I'm pretty sure it's like in basketball when you move that fast, you break the guy's ankles. That's pretty much happened on that play for that defender because
that was Doc.
Makar turned on a dime and the other guy just kept going the other way. It was incredible.
Yeah, that was Doc. I was gonna point that out to John because he's a big Doc fan, but
yeah,
yeah, and that was Fleury. He did that too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was killing me that. Yeah, I'll give props where it's due. It was a beauty goal, but I kind of cried a little inside.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you watched it again too, Doc was he moved his feet to try and block the pass through his feet rather than turning with him, and then Makar just made him look stupid for doing that. So almost as bad as Matthews looked there, pretending to play defense. Following the guy back to the net.
Someone made a comment on Twitter. It was like
Selke.
It was the clip, and then it was the Selke trophy or Selke candidate defense right there. Yeah, that was pretty much. That Makar play reminded me a little bit of McDavid when he waited for the guy to turn his skates, right, and then he just knew, and then he just kind of.
It's funny. It was that
pivoted.
That was against the Leafs. Riley.
So
Morgan Riley.
Something to be said there, I guess. Yeah. But he's a generational defenseman though. The way that even that move that he put on from that angle and to still tuck it upstairs. Yeah. Crazy. Even just the finish. Just to kind of go
defense
forehand backhand and just up it was crazy. Okay, well, let's officially move on to headlines with the Hacks, news and injury updates for the week of January 2nd to January 9th.
Everybody has COVID.
Yeah, basically. We started doing this a few weeks ago, right? Our partner Left Wing Lock has a complete up-to-date list available on their website for all players on COVID protocol. We're not going to spend all night talking about it because that's pretty much all you hear all day. But that list is there. Everybody that's on the list, go check it out, leftwinglock.com. And we've got the link in our show notes as well at fantasyhockeyhacks.com. And that's all I'm going to say about COVID.
Now for the Oilers, everybody has COVID except for McDavid and Barry.
Yeah.
But pretty much they put the rest of the team on COVID, the COVID list today. But Barry and McDavid are fine. The rest have COVID now. Basically what it's.
The good thing about this, though, is that they don't get tested again for 90 days. So if the entire team has it, right now, they have a 10-day break.
Yeah.
Everybody has COVID. You don't have to test again for 3 months. So there's not going to be anybody else in protocol.
Is that new, Tyler? That 90 days?
No, that's what they've been doing since I think the end of December. So you can't test because you can't test positive for it again, allegedly, for 90 days after. So they just don't test.
Okay. Interesting.
Yay.
Well, so that could be That could be a good thing then.
Yeah.
And this 10-day break for them is good. It's going to give them an opportunity to kind of reset. We're going to get to this later. Might as well talk about it now. So talk about the Oilers. Emily Kaplan reported that they may make a coaching change here over the next 10-day break or 10. Yeah. So they were going to do it sometime after the Ottawa game.
After they lost to Ottawa.
Postponed. After they lost to Ottawa, that was a good opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
She was reporting too that they are going to give it to either Glenn Gulletson or they're going to bring up Jay Woodcroft. And I don't really understand that personally. Like, I know lots of people have a lot of praise for Jay Woodcroft, but if you've got a chance to make a coaching change, there's a lot of good coaches just sitting out there. Like Paul Maurice is doing nothing right now.
Maurice, does he want to come back? Does he want to come back?
I think,
and that's a good question, Bruce.
I think the idea there is that Tippett, his contract's up at the end of the year. He most likely wasn't going to be back anyways, unless they went 3 rounds. If you give it to Gulletson, he's an interim for the rest of the year. You can take the offseason. Paul Maurice is maybe more interested in coaching again. The list of the other guys that are going to get fired at the end of the year widens, and you can have a better look. I know a lot of people are on Woodcroft, but I don't know.
He's doing so well with Bakersfield. I wouldn't want to take him away from that. They already screwed that up once with what was his first name? Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They already lost a really good coach by doing that.
Yeah, that's true. Did he go to Dallas?
Yeah, associate coach.
Don't remember which system he's in now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we'll see what happens. Either way, they're going to just take a break here for 10 days and get reset and get everybody healthy and maybe figure out their goaltending. I think, was it John, you and I were talking about this? Like, I think they just need to basically call up Skinner and let Skinner and Smith ride it out for the season. Yep. I don't care what you do with Koskinen. Like, send him down through waivers if he gets claimed, which he won't, whatever, and then figure it out in the offseason.
Yep.
Or maybe the trade deadline if something does come up, right?
Can they bring up Skinner?
Well, if they sent
with
Koskinen
these new
down.
taxi squad rules, can they bring him up?
I think they're really close to the cap, and that's why they had to play Samorukov the other night there, which was a complete disaster for the whole 2 minutes he played.
Okay. Tyler, am I wrong here? People were all over Tippett for benching him after giving up those 2 goals.
I know why he would. Like, you've lost, I think at that point it was like 8 out of 10 or something like that being behind the bench.
Yeah.
Not counting those 2 games that he wasn't around.
Yeah.
And like he gave up that play on the second goal where he jumped on Kyrou.
Yeah. Kyrou just walked them.
Yeah. Why are you jumping him at the blue line with nobody behind you? Just back in, give him the blue line, keep him to the outside.
Yeah.
I could see why. And he was only playing because of Broberg's. It was because of the cap. It was Broberg's performance bonuses or something that were going to impact the cap. So that's why they sent him to the taxi squad and played Samorukov. But it just sucks. I know why he did it, and it looks bad to basically bench him after that. But it was 2 goals in 2.5 minutes of ice time. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was bad. I didn't disagree with the decision. No. But I understand why people are upset too, I guess. Okay. Well, look, we're almost 14 minutes in. We should probably actually talk about some of the headlines here. Brayden Schenn was activated from IR on Monday night. And I think he actually scored in his first game back there. That was good to see. Mark Stone was on the ice at practice on Monday. He eventually returned this week, and I believe he scored this week. Cam Talbot is out indefinitely. They're still saying it's day-to-day, lower body. He didn't play in Boston on Thursday night. Kakinen looked good in his time this week. The Wild play just 3 games between now and January 16th, so he's going to have some time to heal up. But Kakinen is still a good option if he's available on your wire. Jordan Kyrou, Jack Hughes, and Jonathan Huberdeau were named the NHL's 3 stars for the week ending January 2nd. Zach Werenski was placed in COVID protocol on Tuesday morning, and he missed the game against Tampa Bay. This one's kind of funny. Rossi and Matthew Boldy were both recalled by the Minnesota Wild on Tuesday. They're both given top power play assignments almost immediately, and then just today they were sent back down to the AHL. I did see that Joel Eriksson-Ek was actually activated off IR, so I'm assuming that's what some of that was.
Part of it.
Yeah, but interesting they didn't try to make room for either guy, or couldn't maybe. Elliot Friedman reported on Tuesday afternoon that Victor Rask was placed on waivers by the Minnesota Wild. It was confirmed on Tuesday that Dougie Hamilton suffered a broken jaw on Sunday and had surgery on Wednesday to repair the broken jaw. Jonathan Huberdeau's season is over after undergoing hip surgery, and Nico Hischier did not play Tuesday due to lower body injury.
Wasn't that Bernier, not Huberdeau?
Oh, sorry, boys. Yeah, Jonathan Bernier.
Figure it out.
Good
Give
catch,
everyone
Bruce.
a coronary out there.
We'll move on from that one. Alex Martinez was practicing in a no-contact jersey on Tuesday. Samuel Girard played in his 300th NHL game on Tuesday night against the Blackhawks. The 47th overall pick from 2016 has 132 points to date. Of course, we talked about the Cale Makar goal already. Troy Terry scored a hat trick against the Flyers. He now sits third in the NHL in goals with 21. So, Tyler, not all hope is lost for you and Troy Terry.
Not yet.
He's keeping that up a lot longer than I thought he would.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that all of us thought he would. Like we said, Connor McDavid was placed in COVID protocol. Didn't play this week against the Maple Leafs. Dmitry Orlov is considered day-to-day with an upper body injury. I think is he out? Is he healthy now? I want to say he was, but anyway. Pittsburgh Penguins, there was a trade this week. The Penguins acquired Alex Nylander from the Chicago Blackhawks for Sam Lafferty. Ryan Ershog reported that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' injury could keep him out of the lineup for as long as 4 weeks. So that was bad. We all kind of thought it was going to be a day-to-day situation. Ends up being a month. Tuukka Rask signed his professional tryout with the AHL Providence team. Could see him back with the Bruins sometime soon. Mike basically nailed that one on the head, hey guys.
You bet.
Yeah. So that's good to see if you're a Rask owner at this point. Nikita Kucherov was taking line rushes with Brayden Point and Andre Palat on Thursday. He did return to the lineup against Calgary. He had at least one assist. I haven't checked his stats since then, but I mean, he's looked like he hasn't skipped a beat, basically. Charlie McAvoy didn't play on Thursday night. He's out with lower body injury, still out with lower body injury. Nick Ritchie was placed on waivers on Thursday by the Maple Leafs, and then I saw on Twitter he was back on Power Play 2 as recently as yesterday.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Probably just so they can move him to the taxi squad if needed.
Yeah.
Probably a cap space thing more than anything.
Jaden Schwartz will miss 4 to 6 weeks following hand surgery. Another blow there for the Seattle Kraken. The Penguins beat the Flyers 6-2 for their 10th straight win. And then, like we said earlier, Bryan Rust scored another 3 points, which gave him the 11 in 3 games. This was fun. Bruce, you pointed this one out. Elliot Friedman reported that the Winnipeg Jets sent out a survey to season seat holders about playing games out of market. Saskatoon was being considered as a destination, given that Saskatchewan has no strict protocols in place at this time.
And the next day, everyone dumped all the cold water they could find on it. So.
Yeah, that ended quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah, we're just going to have to go to Edmonton. We want to watch hockey, we're going to Edmonton.
Yeah, but we actually have rules here. We're not even... We can't do anything, so.
That is very true.
Yeah.
You can watch the game virtually on Sportsnet.
And we don't want Winnipeg here. Believe me.
No, you wouldn't. Believe me. Joe Thornton played his 1700th game against the Dallas Stars on Thursday night. 1,535 points, 429 goals to date. So there you go, John. Somebody with a lot more assists than goals.
Yeah, but he's like the worst kind of person.
Oh, here we go. Well, next week's all
He's got too many assists?
Yeah, there you go.
I like an even ratio.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, not quite even, but close to it.
I mentioned that the story that Emily Kaplan broke about the Oilers and the coaching change. The video, the clip from ESPN, I've included that, embedded that in the show link here, the show notes. So if you want to go check that out, follow the link to the show notes. Jacob Voracek played his 1,000th NHL game on Thursday against the Devils. The former Flyer has 761 points, 217 goals to date. Gabriel Landeskog posted a hat-trick against the Winnipeg Jets Thursday night in a 7-1 win that we had mentioned earlier. Johan Larsson posted a hat-trick this week against the Blackhawks in a 6-4 win. Kirill Kaprizov left Thursday's game with an upper body injury after taking a hit from Trent Frederick. Did anyone have an issue with that hit on Kaprizov?
I wasn't a fan of it. But he did the same thing to two other players in the same night and nothing happened. So
yeah,
the referees were okay with it. But Foligno lit him up like a Christmas tree, though, in the fight they had.
That guy can fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
His brother didn't look any indifferent sitting on the bench, but... Granted, he's a Bruin, but...
Yeah, no, Marcus Foligno at this point is having a much better time than Nick Foligno is.
Yes.
Where did I go? Nicholas Baxtrom and TJ Oshie were placed on IR by the Washington Capitals on Friday morning. John Klingberg has apparently requested a trade out of Dallas. And I had mentioned, I think if you're a Miro Heiskanen owner, that's probably a welcome transaction.
Yeah.
From my perspective, I'd love to just see them give all the power play time to Heiskanen and just move on and use that cap space elsewhere. But we'll see what happens. It's a contract year for Klingberg. They have been unable to reach an agreement on an extension. And I think basically what he had said was he didn't feel valued, right? Is that what you guys, that's what the reports I saw.
That was the gist of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is good if you're a Klingberg owner too, because he'll probably end up getting traded somewhere where he is the number one offensive defenseman.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. It's honestly better for both players if he just kind of moves on.
Well, too, and if Dallas is out of the playoff hunt, they could trade him off for whatever they can get before the playoffs, too.
Yep. Yeah, and you think they have to move him at the deadline. I mean, they're not.
If they're not in a playoff spot or not going to make a wild card spot, then yeah, I would think they would.
Yeah.
Maybe Holtby, too, to Edmonton.
We can hope. We can hope.
I would guess he'd be Hudobin that would get moved before Holtby.
What's that, Bruce?
I'm guessing it would be Hudobin that would get moved before Holtby.
I just think cap wise, it might be easier to move. Who knows? Maybe they move both of them.
Yeah, that's true. If they got Ottinger, right? They just need a backup for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Koskinen's a good backup.
We joke. We joke, but honestly, if the dollars worked out and if Edmonton incentivized them a little bit with some draft picks, like that could be a thing that happens.
No, definitely.
I mean, he's a serviceable backup. He's just not a starter, right? I think we all know that, but
we certainly do.
And just tell him to stay in the net. The Minnesota Wild reported that Kirill Kaprizov would not play Saturday, and they don't have a timetable for him beyond that. Tom Wilson played in his 600th NHL game on Friday night, a 5-1 loss to the St. Louis Blues. Oh, here's John's favorite topic. The San Jose Sharks placed Evander Kane on unconditional waivers for the purpose of terminating his contract. The NHLPA later said that they would be challenging that transaction. They're going to file a grievance, is what Elliot Friedman had actually reported. So, who wants to take those on first, John?
I was just going to say that this guy could make the list every week for just being an idiot. So,
I would second that.
I find it interesting that I get it, but I also find it interesting that the NHLPA would file a grievance for that, but not any of the Kyle Beach stuff that was going on. So that's a good look. That's a good look for the league.
Really.
Or any of the players that got their faces caved in by other players.
Yeah.
It's like you won't go to bat for these players that get run over and that on the ice, but you'll go to bat for a guy that's
a career moron.
Yeah. I don't get it. I just don't.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
I think part of it has to be just because I think he still have 4 years left on his contract.
Bruce, contract guy.
Yeah, I think he had 4 left. Let me just double check.
So, I mean, I get the NHLPA when you have that much time left on your contract to just get it terminated. The PA has to look out for players, and if they sign long-term contracts and they're just getting terminated, but should be a special case where they just let that go. But
yeah.
There's some times where you just throw the guy under the bus and back up again.
He's one that you could definitely do that with, and I think most players would probably be okay with that. But
and most fans, right? I don't think anyone's going to argue if they decide to back the bus up on him. I guess the next question is anyone going to sign him? Like,
somebody will.
Someone will, right?
Yep.
Someone
Edmonton
will sign him. Yes.
Well, you joke, John,
that would
but
be
like,
hilarious.
I know.
That would be hilarious.
Scary.
If you just took out his off ice nonsense out of the equation, he actually is a good hockey player. But
he would be the perfect second line winger to play with Draisaitl. Can you imagine a line with Draisaitl and Puljujarvi even, and Kane? That's a big line.
I would take that, but I also it hurts me to say
it. He'll end up in Tampa for like $900,000.
Oh, you will for sure.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
That would be also hilarious.
And then win a cup, and then just watch everybody riot.
Yeah,
yeah. They stroked him off of cap friendly already. So.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was 3 or 4 years left on his.
Okay, we'll move on from that then. Barrett Hayton is expected to have surgery on his hand. He's going to miss 5 to 8 weeks. On Saturday, Jason Robertson became the first Dallas Stars player to hit a double-digit home point streak since John Klingberg in 2017-2018. Thomas Hertl erased a 2-0 deficit for the Sharks and completed the natural hat trick with an OT winner. Hertl's in a contract year. He's on pace for 45 goals and 71 points right now.
Nice.
Pretty good stuff there from him.
He's also on John's list because he's going to have 2 more goals than assists.
Yep.
Also an excellent winger for Draisaitl.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I would take him far over Kane at this point.
He'll
John,
cost more than
you're
Kane,
shaking
though.
your head. Why are you shaking your head, John?
I don't like Thomas Hertl.
He's on the list, remember?
But
No,
why?
he's just hyped up from his first game where he played unreal, and then he's okay after that.
I'd take the guy. I don't know. He's an upgrade on most of our wingers in Edmonton.
I have trash opinions, okay? let me have them.
We know, Joe.
Fair enough. Okay. The Colorado Avalanche came back from a 3-goal deficit to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, as we mentioned earlier. They extended their home win streak to a franchise record 11 games. Cale Makar became the third defenseman to require 27 games or fewer to reach the 15-goal mark. The other players were Bobby Orr or Dave Ellett. So Tyler, just as you mentioned earlier, generational defenseman. You're not going to see a talent like this guy very often. Zach Fucale has set an NHL record for the longest streak without allowing a goal to start his career. Pretty impressive stuff there from him.
Did you see the... Because it was, Matt Hackett who had the record before?
Yes. Yeah.
And he never actually recorded a single shutout.
Really?
In his career, apparently. Yeah, I was reading it on Instagram or something like that.
I'll have to take your word on that one.
Okay, now I gotta look it up. Keep going, I'll let you know.
You look at let me know. Okay. John, you like this? Marc-Andre Fleury became the first goaltender to defeat all 32 NHL teams.
Beauty.
He deserves it too.
All right. Is anyone on this podcast not a fan? Like, if anybody would be, it'd be John. So.
John.
No, John loves
John.
him. Yeah.
Yes.
Good. He's not on the list. We're good.
Good.
He is not on the list.
That's a guy that you others should look at. I don't care if he's 90.
I cap it, but
yeah.
Last time we made a trade with Chicago, it didn't work out too good. So
didn't. Yeah, you can't win them all or any of them if you're Ken Holland.
Yeah.
The St. Louis Blues mounted an unlikely comeback Sunday, scoring 2 power play goals in the final minute. How good is Jordan Kyrou this year? He's pretty good. He's pretty good. And the Blues, actually, for that matter. Joel Eriksson-Ek was activated from IR, like I mentioned earlier. And Rossi and Matthew Boldy were sent down. Dylan Larkin left Sunday's game against Anaheim with an upper body injury and did not return.
Boo.
Yeah. And that is it for Headlines with the Hacks. John is back with some info here for us. Go ahead.
So Jeff Hackett recorded his first shutout in his 7th season in the league.
Okay.
Good work, John.
There you go.
So
I know.
he holds the record, but he must have just been playing partials, so.
Yeah. Or tie games. There's tie games.
It's kind of like cheating.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Okay. Let's move on to Ask the Hacks.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. And I want to have them answered immediately.
Starting with, and this is kind of an extension. It's from the same listener. His username is Cannabliss on IG. So, he submitted this question similar to last week. It is Bennett, Svechnikov, or Laine for the rest of the season. Hits and blocks are included. Who are you taking?
Bennett.
Bennett?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go Svechnikov.
Tyler? Oh, this one's hurting his head. He's really thinking about it.
He's going Laine.
I'm going to go Svechnikov. It was between the two, Laine or Svechnikov, but I'll go Svechnikov. He really should be playing more. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but
yeah. I think I'd agree with that too, guys. Like I like what Laine's done so far in Columbus, but that team is pretty bad right now, just in terms of special teams and goals for per game and lots of things to not like there. So yeah, Svechnikov, just he provides some hits coverage. He provides a lot of offense. If they just let him play as much as he should be, but and for that matter, Bennett's a great option too. Like he provides category coverage, and as we talked about, I think it was last week, he shoots more than Laine too. Plays on an elite team. Like none of these guys are bad options, but I guess
there's no wrong answer.
No. Would you trade David Pastrnak for Andre Burakovsky and Ryan Johansson? I had sent this out to you guys earlier in the week to discuss, and of course Mike came back right away and just said absolutely not. The reasoning being here is that David Pastrnak is at the moment unlucky. I think it was his shooting percentage that was down. His team even strikes shooting percentage is down, and the exact opposite is true for Burakovsky and Ryan Johansson. Even just on the surface, are you really going to trade Pastrnak, who is a top 10 goal scorer in the league, for either of those players?
No.
Yeah. So, no, don't do that. Hold on to Pastrnak. He's going to bounce back. Part of that too is like they've split up the perfection line, right? That top line in Boston. They've now got Hall playing with Pastrnak and Haula, I think. And it's actually played out not too bad. Hall's bounced back offensively here. But if things ever dry up, they're just going to move Pastrnak back to the line with Bergeron and Marchand. So hold on to him. The next question here, I have Huberdeau in a 13 category head-to-head keeper league. Would you trade Huberdeau for JT Miller? Tyler, I'll go to you first. I'm convinced.
I would. Miller does a lot of stuff. He really does. So face-offs, power play, penalty kill. He's all over the place. So Florida's a lot deeper team too than Vancouver, which just means that JT Miller is going to get a lot more opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Bruce.
Okay. Well, too, we chatted a bit about this question earlier in the week, and if you look in our two ESPN drafts, their total points in both drafts, Miller is ahead of Huberdeau in terms of total points for the season, and not by a little bit; it's by quite a bit.
That's interesting, Bruce. I didn't check that again, but because Huberdeau's had an outstanding season, so I mean that tells you something about JT Miller, and. I went and I looked at the numbers too, and when I sent you guys the question, I said like you could make a good case to make that trade, to take Miller.
Yeah, we kind of laughed about it at first, and then once we dug into it, it's like
and the thing is, you look at Huberdeau he was always drafted in usually in the he didn't go any later than the late part of the second round, right? Miller was going in the 7th round.
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting far better
in our two ESPN drafts.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's ahead in total points of Huberdeau.
Another good winger for Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and part of the discussion here was the face-offs. So obviously Miller on face-offs is good. And then we talked about Huberdeau in last week's episode in Fact or Fiction, and Mike said basically his point totals are inflated by about 10 points due to luck currently.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you kind of factor that in the remainder of the season, and then given what JT Miller's doing, yeah, there could be a case made for that. So I mean, yeah, I think I'd be in favor of that, JT Miller. Next up, what do you think I should do with Alex DeBrincat? Should I trade him for Kaprizov? Chicago just sucks so bad this year, and it looks like they are rebuilding. Kane just hasn't looked the same this season, and I think that hurts DeBrincat's value. Well, the listener's right. Obviously, Kane, if he's not playing well, that's going to hurt DeBrincat's value because they've kind of been stitched together. But second, if you can get DeBrincat for Kaprizov, yeah, I mean, assuming he's healthy,
in a heartbeat,
assuming he's healthy, I'm making that trade, no question.
Yeah, there's quite a discrepancy in points between the two of them this season.
And just in terms of the team situation, too, how good has Minnesota been this year?
Yeah, they've been really good again.
Yeah, and I don't have the exact numbers to spit out right now, but I'd make that trade. This one was funny. I told him, be patient. He said, Pacioretty has been amazing when he's healthy, but is a lost cause at this point in my redraft league. I'm going to cut him. What do you think would be a good replacement? I just told him, hold on. And actually the listener did eventually come back and say, actually I had room to stash him on IR because somebody else was coming off. But
we don't know his timeline for coming back, but you drop him. Someone's going to pick him up and stash him. He's not going to, even though he's injured, he's not going to stay available. Someone will grab him and stash him.
When I heard March for Pacioretty, sometime in March was sort of the timeline.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd hold on to that guy. No question. It sounds like he had a pretty stacked team, this guy, but I'm not dropping him. He could be a league winner. Like I've had him in years past, and just the shot volume and the goals you'll get from Pacioretty, not to mention he's playing on an elite team. Maybe that power play will be good once they get Jack Eichel there.
Well, and that's just it, right? So Vegas has been getting creative. So I read something about they're looking at acquiring Kessler's LTIR cap hit from the Ducks to increase their LTIR pool.
Okay.
So they're getting creative to trying to find ways to create cap space
and bring everybody back.
Yeah, because you imagine you hang on to Pacioretty and all of a sudden you got Eichel, Pacioretty, and Stone for fantasy playoffs.
No, those guys are going to be a handful. That's crazy.
There's too much potential there to drop Pacioretty, at least.
Yeah.
At least for me, there would be. I'd find a way to keep him.
Okay. Everybody's in agreement?
Yep.
Okay. If you had to cut one, who would it be? Robert Thomas, Jesse Puljujarvi, or Andrew Mangiapane?
Mangiapane.
Yep.
Second. Yeah, I'd say Mangiapane too.
Drop that guy like a bad habit.
Not only because he's playing at Calgary, but mostly just that.
Not the fact that it's unsustainable and
yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that,
but that too, but mostly because he's wearing a Flames jersey.
Yeah.
Okay, easy enough. My goalies are James Reimer, Linus Ullmark, Anthony Stolarz, and Tuukka Rask. Would it make sense to trade Stolarz for Swayman and have all three Boston goalies? I said no.
It's relying on that too much, I think.
Yeah.
It takes up a lot of spots.
And I'm not convinced that somebody would trade, except would you trade Swayman for Stolarz?
I would wait till Swayman got put on waivers and then pick him up.
Also depends on how deep your league is, because
if it's a really deep league, then still both Stolarz and Swayman are on a roster somewhere.
Sure,
that's a really deep league.
Yeah. I have the hardest time with stacking two goalies from the same team, so
Yeah, I wouldn't stack 3. Realistically, it's going to get sorted out. There's going to be 2 goalies there, and that's just going to be what it is.
Yep.
And
we'll find out in a hurry what Rask is going to be like, because if they sign Rask and he doesn't play well, he's not going to play. It's just, that's how it's going to be, because he's not going to sign for a whole lot of money. So
no,
if the experiment doesn't work out, he's going to be gone just as quickly as he arrived.
But they're going to give him a long leash too, Bruce. I think.
Depends whether they're fighting for a playoff spot or not. If they're fighting for a playoff spot, then no, he's probably not going to get a long leash. If they're comfortably in a playoff spot, yeah, they'll give him a longer leash. But if they got to fight to get in, I don't think his leash will be very long.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing there, James Reimer, it feels like that's a bit of a failed experiment right now. They've given up a ton of goals recently. I think, I was thinking of this earlier, I think they've given up the second most goals over the past month, roughly.
Who's the first? Miko Koskinen?
Oh, I was looking at it on a team basis. I think it might have been Buffalo or somebody else, and then it was San Jose was number 2, and it was like, holy man. But yeah, he hasn't been very good lately, and actually Adin Hill has been better in San Jose the last 3 or 4 games here. So if I'm dropping somebody at this point, it's going to be James Reimer. I'll hold on to the other guys.
Well, too, even Stolarz, like once Gibson is healthy, he's pretty much just wasting space.
Yeah, we've got Stolarz in our waiver wire picks here. Just because he is getting some starts right now with Gibson out, but he's not a long-term solution by any stretch.
No.
I'm trying to buy low on Kevin Fiala. Is this a good idea? I initially offered Matt Zuccarello. He countered with Victor Arvidsson. The listener also has Nino Niederreiter, Paul Stastny, and Mikheyev that he would move for Fiala. And I said, try and hold on to Zuccarello and Victor Arvidsson. Both players, I think, are capable of putting up some offense, and if Arvidsson's got great shot volume, I'd be looking at trading Niederreiter, probably.
This would be a time to try and get rid of Mikheyev if you can sell high on him. He's got a 4-game point streak right now.
Yeah.
Like if you could sell high on Mikheyev and get Fiala out of it, that would be fantastic. Because Fiala has been a late season performer the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
His first half has been okay, and he's been almost lights out in the second half the last 2 years.
Yeah, and he started to heat up here too as of late. So I would happily try and grab Fiala and drop one of those other 2 guys.
Sounds like a trade I'd try and make.
Pick up Mikheyev 2 days earlier and then try and flop him for Fiala.
Nobody wants him.
It's been done. It's been said.
Yeah, it has.
All right, this one here is actually from our friend Wyatt. Tyler, you don't know him, but he's a guy that John and Bruce and I work with. So Wyatt, thanks for the question. He had sent it to me through email, actually. He says he does listen to the show, so that's great.
You had me confused. I was like, oh, we have a friend Wyatt? Sorry, man.
That's who I'm referring to.
Friend?
We have a friend? Friend of the show. Long-time listener, first-time caller. He said that he's been riding the Timo Meyer and Nazem Kadri train. They both treated him well. He's starting to toss around the idea of trading them. With how they've played, would you trade them? And if so, who would you go after? I could use a quality D-man or goalie. I was looking at this earlier. I did just looking at some numbers here. I don't have them in front of me again, but all of their numbers are inflated basically. They've got some luck. So their IPP, I think, was elevated. The team's even strength shooting percentage was elevated quite a bit. I think it was around 13.5% for Kadri. We talked about it a bit with Mike, I think, in a previous episode too. But Kadri's his secondary assist rate is high this year. Like it's about 0.5 per 60. But in the last 2 seasons, it's been somewhere around 0.25 or 0.28. So even that's elevated, but then his primary assist rate is sky high.
He's
Nazem Kadri has the.
He's probably
Sorry, go ahead, Tyler.
Well, he's probably also due for a suspension here at some point. So maybe
that is true.
Maybe get ahead of that. Trade him off.
1,000%.
But too, he might find someone that wants to jump on him, right? Like those 2 are both in the top 10 of scoring in the league right now.
They are. They've got value. I'm not saying they don't have value, Bruce. Like they absolutely have value. But
yeah,
I'll just really quickly, his primary assist rate was the highest of any player in the past 3 seasons.
Yeah.
McDavid over there, like it was 1.78 was the next highest primary assist rate, and Kyrou was at 2.41. Like, and yeah, like it was off the charts. He's going to regress at some point. He has to. It's just you're not going to continue the pace he's on. But
no, well,
if you just
never know.
If you just look at the numbers and you like aren't a dork and don't know that 1.78, you're going to get something good for him. You can get a quality D-man for him.
Yep.
And now would be the time to do it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So that's the next part of the question here is like he wants a D-man or a goalie. I had 3 defensemen in my head that I would probably take a look at, and that was Chris Letang, Roman Josi, or Dougie Hamilton if I'm trying to grab a D-man. Now, and I say Dougie Hamilton because right now he's on IR. There's probably a good, like his value's deflated right now. You could probably try and swing a nice trade at that owner, maybe even get an additional piece for Kadri, right?
Yeah, I don't think Josi would be like I wouldn't do that, but
no. But I mean,
he's a good
maybe you want
to
to trade both
with.
of them.
Yeah. Well, I guess it also depends on what the other guy has for D. If he's got 3 good ones,
yeah,
you might be able to get somebody like that.
Take a look. And I like Josi for his category coverage. He's a good defenseman, does a lot of great things, and that team's rolling right now. I mentioned Chris Letang because his shooting percentage right now is 1.2% on the season. He's a career 6% shooter. He's got 1 goal in 30 games. So, I mean, his 3-year average is 13 goals. So he's going to pop off here sometime in the second half. And if you can take advantage of that, assuming he stays healthy, I mean, if you could flip Meyer for Letang, or if you could flip Kadri for Letang, I mean, if you're in need of D, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, who's another defenseman or a goal you guys are looking at?
Oh, I'd shoot high. I'd go after one of the top defensemen for sure, right? You've got a guy that's like Kadri, who's 5th in league scoring. So why wouldn't you go after Fox or Hedman or someone? Well, Yossi's third in scoring for a defenseman, so that's high too. So yeah, start there and like
Fox is a good candidate too. If you could grab Fox, like
hell, even Makar. Like Makar's 5th in defenseman scoring.
You love Makar, obviously. Like
I do.
Well, no,
you could try buying on Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, Quinn Hughes might be good. Actually, because Vancouver, and I'll mention this later, but they've actually led the league over the last month in win percentage or points percentage. So
Bruce, there it is.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Bruce,
say,
there it is.
You beat me to it.
They've been hot, so yeah, Quinn Hughes would be a great ad too. If you could flip Meyer for Quinn Hughes,
yeah.
John, any defensemen on the tip of your tongue or goaltenders?
No, the ones that you guys mentioned there, I'd say they're all solid. Like, even though Letang only has the 1 goal, he still has, was it like 28 or 30 points this year, so.
He's almost a point per game, but just it's the shooting percentage, right? There's a lot of value there.
Yeah.
That I mean, so take a look at him. You know, Timo Meyer's been unbelievable this year. He's got 38 points in 31 games, but he's never scored more than 66 points. He's on pace for 101 right now. Like, he's going to regress a little bit. Yeah. So I think at some point you have to think about moving that guy too. So I don't know. Again, going back to the Predators, like, you know, UC Saros is a guy I'd maybe take a look at in terms of goaltenders. Maybe you could buy low on a guy like Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah, you should get quality return regardless.
Any other goaltenders, guys, come to mind?
Hart, maybe?
That's a real buy low candidate right now.
Yeah.
I mean, well, if it's a keeper league, I don't know if it's a keeper league for these guys, but, you know, that could be a steal.
A good buy low candidate now would be Vasilevsky.
Well, sure.
He hasn't done well the past few games at all.
The big problem, though, is people that don't look into it really in depth to his name recognition. And it's kind of just a non-starting point for a lot of people as soon as like when you said Josi, most people would just be like, no, he won. He won the Norris a couple years ago. That's never happening, right? Or like when Bruce says Vasilevsky, it's like, no, I would never do that.
No chance.
But
Zero.
They don't actually look at it beyond that.
Yeah, and that's a valid point, Tyler. Okay. What about a guy like Bobrovsky? Like wins a lot, right? I mean, he's having a good season. Would you flip Kadri or Meyer for Bobrovsky if the owner was willing to go for it?
Really depends on how your league's set up too for scoring for goalies.
Like what's his?
Well, let me tell you,
What are his
I've got him in
numbers?
2 leagues. So
Well, he's got a 2.57 goals against and a 917 save percentage. But his record is 16-3-3. So I mean, if wins are a big part of your league setup for goaltenders, there's a lot of value there. He's got a 4.01 goals saved above average. Saved above average. I don't know. That's maybe a guy I'd look at too. That team's rolling.
Tristan Jury.
Yeah. Yep. You guys know how I love Tristan Jury. They just came off a 10-game win streak, so that's probably one I'd really look at is Tristan Jury. And I think that could probably be done because he doesn't have as much of the name recognition, Tyler, like you said. Like
Even
a guy,
Frederick,
you might look at him and go, just like you, Bruce, and go, well, Kadri's 5th overall in league scoring. Yeah, sure, I'll make that deal.
Yeah. Frederick Anderson would be another one.
Yep. Yeah, good option there. They're 3rd overall, I think, in league standings, Carolina. Okay. Good stuff. Wyatt, thanks for the question. We'll get you entered into the contest. For all of our listeners, if you haven't heard, Left Wing Lock, Mike has offered to do a giveaway each week. We're going to draw a name as part of our Ask the Hack segment, and the winner is going to get a free subscription to the Left Wing Lock app. The only catch, as John and Bruce can tell you, is that you need to be an iPhone user. Currently. But I will say the app is phenomenal. If you have an iPhone, it's incredibly handy. So send those questions in. Find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, or just send us an email at fantasyhockeyhacks@gmail.com. And with that, guys, let's move on to
DraftKings.
Yes, sorry. Let me find my ad read because I totally forgot about it.
You don't have that memorized?
How could you?
I should have that memorized by now. Yeah. Oh, hey, Tyler, if you want to take a break, now be the time, buddy, because I'm going to get through this ad read first. All right. As a member of the Hockey Podcast Network, the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast is a proud partner of DraftKings. The NHL season is well underway, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has an unbelievable offer to celebrate the greatest sport on ice. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. Doesn't matter if it's a clapper from the point, a deft deflection, or a highlight reel goal from McDavid. However they light the lamp, you win. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's that simple. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state or location yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL and the NFL for all you football fans out there. Must be 21 years of age or older, New Jersey, Indianapolis, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Dude, you got
That's for you, Tyler.
Yeah, I do have a problem. I've got like $500.
I was going to say, how have you been doing lately, Tyler? On your
actually pretty good.
We haven't talked about gambling for a while.
I got the old account up to, I think it was at 502 yesterday. It's pretty good.
Nice. Yep. It's not bad.
But I've got like $500 sitting right now on the Chargers, and Vegas keeps on scoring tonight. It was looking good. They pulled ahead just before the end of the half, and
Oh yeah, you in trouble.
Oh boy.
Well, the Chargers clinched earlier today, did they not?
Well, yeah, I made it this morning. So I have a problem, and I know most people, like, if you actually want to make money doing this, you just bet single games. But I'm old, like, Paulie Parlay over here. I have to have like 5 games going. So you bet like $25 and win like 400, and you're pretty set. But it doesn't happen too often. But when it does, it's really good.
Sure.
Last weekend I actually did pretty good. I think I had like $25 in there, and I put it up to 500. Right now, I'm probably gonna lose quite a bit of it, but that's okay. It's all free money at this point. It's all free money.
It's all free money. Okay, well, Tyler, that number's there for you if you need it. 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm gonna call him after the show.
John, hold on, guys. Let's just take a pause here. 55 minutes. Okay, yeah, John, we can hear you. Still here? Oh, we lost John.
I was gonna say something, but we had way too many Johns there.
There was several Johns there. Yeah. So for our listeners, our apologies.
Nobody wants that many Johns.
We're okay. John, you're back. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. It came up with a thing that said it wasn't recording.
Thank God.
Okay. Well, don't panic yet.
I'm super panicked. It kicked me out.
Just don't close your browser, John. We'll figure it out.
Oh, well, it told me to refresh my browser. I haven't done anything yet, so.
It's okay to refresh it. Just don't close it.
Fine. I'm not going to do anything.
Okay. Tyler, did I just see a drink get swapped across your screen? You got room service there? What is that?
Yeah, I just sent a text for that.
I'm out of water.
What are you doing drinking water?
That is impressive. Wow. Good for you. Tell Amy I say hi.
Some of us are poor and can't afford alcohol.
Oh my God, I'll ship some over to you.
Okay. Let's move on here, guys, to our next segment, Edge Work, the segment where we do the work to give you the edge in your fantasy hockey leagues. Let's get on to NHL schedule for Week 14. Now, assuming there's no further postponed or rescheduled games, the NHL schedule is fairly typical in terms of 4 light days: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Sunday has 1 matchup, Washington and Vancouver. The Canucks are on a back-to-back, so if you're looking for a goalie start late in the week, Halak is likely going to see one of those 2 games. Boston, Colorado, Seattle, and Washington all offer multiple games on light days, so target players on those clubs specifically to optimize your roster for games played. 3 games Monday, 8 games Tuesday, 3 games Wednesday, 11 games Thursday, 3 games Friday, 13 games Saturday, and 1 game on Sunday. Looking at teams of 4 games, we've got Boston, Colorado, Seattle, and Vancouver. And first up, we're going to look at the Boston Bruins. Their strength of schedule, according to the Left Wing Lock schedule tool, is -18. As we've said in the past, the lower the number, the stronger the schedule. The higher the number, the more difficult. Boston has games, like I said, on Monday and Wednesday. So take a look at those guys. They've rolled over Montreal 5-2 in the first game of the season series, who they play this week. Taylor Hall had a goal and an assist. Charlie Coyle scored twice. Boston split the season series with Philadelphia. The teams have combined for 16 goals in 2 games, so lots of offense there. Swayman had a shutout in his first game of the season against Nashville. So lots to like about Boston for next week. Taylor Hall is still available in 35% of leagues. Eric Halla is on a 4-game point streak, and he's centering that second line with Hall and Pasternak. Some other players to look at: Craig Smith, Charlie Coyle, Matt Grzelcyk, and of course Jeremy Swayman. So any Boston haters at the moment? No. John, you thought about it.
Thought about it, but no. If you'd have said this 5-10 years ago, absolutely, tons of Boston haters. But
all right, fair enough. Let's move on to the Colorado Avalanche. Obviously, there's a ton of good things going on with the Avs right now, but next week specifically, they do have 4 games, and their strength of schedule is -33. Over the last month, they're 3rd in the league with a win percentage of .875, a record of 7-1-0. They lead the league at 4.5 goals for per game. The power play is 10th at 26.5%, and they've got some favorable matchups next week against Seattle, Nashville, and 2 home games against Arizona. So, Tyler, if you're looking for some bets to place, I'd probably look at Colorado home to the Yotes twice for next week.
Yeah.
Although the odds aren't probably very good.
No, they're going to be real bad.
Just think of the odds 50. If you bet against them.
It's going to be
I was going to say, if it's a back-to-back, pick Arizona to win the second one.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, maybe if I
might
went tonight,
just be a good DFS play.
If I went tonight, maybe I'll have some free money to throw around for that. But
yeah, sure. Fingers crossed for you, bud. Getting back to the Avs here, though, they've got 2 games on light nights. So Monday and Friday, they've got games there that's going to help optimize your roster for starts for next week. They crushed Seattle 7-3 in their first meeting on November 19th. Erik Johnson and Valeri Nichushkin scored points in that game, while Andre Burakovsky scored twice. All those guys are available in 30% of leagues or more. Nashville's been more of a challenge for Colorado. They split the season series so far with a combined 15 goals. Johnson and Nichushkin again put up points in that series against Nashville, and as did Bowen Byram. So some good things there for the upcoming week. Some players to consider: Andre Burakovsky at 68% owned, Valeri Nichushkin at 23%, Erik Johnson at 41%, Bowen Byram at 36%, and Pavel Francouz at 13% owned. He actually stepped in for Darcy Kemper. Was that yesterday?
The Leafs game, right?
Yeah, Kemper got pulled. So Francouz let in 1 goal, I think, on 19 shots. He looked pretty good. With 4 games next week, he's going to get at least a start, possibly 2. They might give him 2 starts against Arizona. Who knows? But someone to look at for next week if you're in need of goalie starts. We've got a number of teams here with 3 games on the schedule for next week. I'm just going to focus on the ones that we wanted to take a look at. And that the first one here is Carolina. Strength of schedule is -13. They're currently tied for 3rd overall in the NHL standings, and they've got a strong schedule this week with matchups against Philly, Columbus, and Vancouver. As I mentioned earlier, guys, the Canucks lead the lead in point percentage over the past month with .929 point percentage and a 6-0-1 record. Obviously, they're going to pose a challenge for Carolina. The Canes did lose the first game of the season against Vancouver 2-1, but Philadelphia and Columbus are both strong matchups for the Canes, having given up the 7th and 6th most goals against over the past month, respectively. So Columbus gave up 37 goals over the last month, and Philly at 36. Columbus also has the 31st ranked PK and power play over the last month. So things have not been good in Columbus. I actually dropped Merzlikins earlier, probably a week or 2 ago. I just decided I was going to stream some of their goaltenders because it's been up and down for that team, and the goaltenders there have suffered. The Canes have split the season series with the Flyers as well, scoring 12 combined goals through 2 games played. And what else can I tell you? Players to consider here: Seth Jarvis, Martin Necas, Nino Niederreiter, Jordan Staal, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Brady Shea, Jacob Slavin, and Antti Ranta. And then next up here, teams with 3 games. We got the New York Rangers. They're also currently tied for 3rd overall in NHL standings, and they've got a favorable schedule coming up here as well. They've already beaten both San Jose and Philadelphia this season, and San Jose has given up the 2nd most goals against in the league over the past month with 41. Philadelphia, like I said, has given up the 7th most. Take a look at Capo Caco, Alex Lafreniere, Barclay Goodrow, Jacob Trouba, or Alexander Gorgiev. Has anyone heard anything about Shesterkin? He's on COVID protocol, I believe, right now, but I don't know when he's coming back.
He's still in there, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, Gorgiev's been good in as a fill-in, so keep an eye out for him. Teams with 2 games. The team I'm going to look at here, you've got Montreal, the Islanders, and St. Louis. Obviously, St. Louis here is the strongest of the 3. They're 6-2-1 in their past 9 games, and they've got a favorable matchup against the Seattle Kraken. The other one is against the Leafs, so obviously a challenge there. The Blues are 6th in the league in goals for at 3.49, and the power play is currently ranked 3rd at 29.6%. Take a look at Robert Thomas, Brandon Saad, Ivan Barbashev, or Justin Falk. And then teams with 1 game, and Tyler, this is probably going to kill you, but I'm going to look at the Calgary Flames for next week. They've got a strength of schedule is -43. Yeah, sorry, buddy.
Whatever.
That's a nice shade of red you're wearing there.
Pissed.
Yeah, they've got 1 game next week against the Ottawa Senators, assuming that game actually gets played. The Flames took the Senators down earlier in the season with a 4-0 shutout. Coleman, Anderson, and Shillington all had points in the first meeting this season. Daniel Vladar posted a 27-save shutout. Also note that Ottawa is giving up the 2nd most goals in the league. 2nd most? Must be 3rd most. I can't remember. Anyway, it's 3.69 goals against per game. Lots of goals given up.
I think.
And some players to think about there, sorry, Tyler, is Blake Coleman, Michael Backlund, Noah Hannafin, Rasmus Anderson, and Oliver Shillington.
I think Chabot's out for that game too.
Okay.
Chabot's in protocol.
Yeah.
Who isn't?
Yeah, we probably have a smaller list saying who
it would be
at this point.
And this makes me sad. Probably all of us sad. But teams with 0 games for next week includes the Edmonton Oilers.
I don't know what I'm going to
At
do.
least they won't lose.
Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, that is true, Bruce.
Whole week
Can't
without
lose,
a
you don't
loss.
play. Yeah, nice.
Exactly, right?
There's a good
Woohoo,
stat
we
for
didn't
you.
lose this week. Oh, we didn't play.
Okay, let's move on to the next part of edge work here, and that's the NHL Week 14 waiver wire targets. As we've said in the past, we typically look at players with ownership of 50% or less. We'll start it off here with Alexander Barabanov. From the San Jose Sharks, he's got left wing, right wing eligibility, 4% rostered currently. He's got 3 games on the schedule for next week. Right now, he's playing on the first line with Meyer and with Hurdle, and he's getting time on power play too. He's on pace for 53 points and 16 goals. I think he could be a valuable add in deep rosters or deep leagues, sorry. He's got 10 points, 3 goals in his last 12 games played. Even you have to like that, John. Yeah. Sorry, what was it?
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah, that's all right. I'm not gonna argue that one.
For the folks that can't see John's face, he definitely had his mic off for a second.
Definitely.
We
I thought I had it on.
hacks.
I thought I had it on, and then you never responded to what I said, and I said, "Oops."
Man.
Yeah, we sure live up to our name on this
The
show.
longer we do this, it's just like the hacks is just. It's such a good name.
It's so fitting. It's so fitting.
Just a bunch of hosers. Oh man,
We still got some people listening though, so that's good.
that's good. That's
we appreciate
That's
you.
good. That's good. Yeah, we really do. Yeah, each and every one of you.
all 3 of you. Thank you.
All 3. Yeah, we it's a little more than 3. I can promise you that. It's at least 4 or 5. I had Marco Rossi in here. I'm just going to scratch that name off the list. Obviously, he's been sent back down, so he was our next guy up, but we won't talk about him right now.
Whoops.
I am excited, though, to talk about Travis Konechny because I think he's due for some regression here. He's only 32% rostered, 3 games on the schedule for next week. He's typically been playing on the top line for the Flyers and on the top power play. He had a career high of 61 points 2 years ago. He was on a 76-point pace. He has struggled since then, posting 34 points last season, and he's on pace for 47 this year. However, his individual shooting percentage is 5.4%, well below his career average of 12%, and his team's even strength shooting percentage is just 6.1%. So if you've listened to the show long enough, you know the league average is approximately 8.5%, so we're going to see some regression there. He's shooting more this season at 9.7 shots on goal per 60. His IPP at 63% is low, and his secondary assist rate is low at 0.13. Keep an eye on him. He's going to bounce back at some point this season. I like Travis Konechny, whether it's for this week or beyond. And then also take a look at Cam Atkinson. He's 61% rostered currently. And any thoughts on Konechny, guys? Where's my cricket button?
Nothing.
Okay, nothing.
We like
okay,
him, but
perfect.
we don't hate him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Tanner Jeannot. I can't remember if we talked about him last week, but he's 45% rostered. I took a little bit closer to look at his numbers this week. First off, he does play 3 games next week. He's playing on line 3 with Sissons and Trennan on power play 2. But he's currently tied for NHL goal scoring lead among all rookies. He's got 10 points, 5 goals in his last 10 games, and he's on pace for 50 points. Better still, he's on pace for 260 hits, which would be 6th in the NHL, or he's currently 6th in the NHL in hits, and 141 PIMs. So he's sort of a little bit like Brady Kachuk light. He hits a ton, he gets PIMs, and he's putting up some goals. Like, I mean, 45% rostered, over half the leagues, you can go and just pick him up for nothing, and he's going to provide some category coverage for you. His individual shooting percentage is a bit high. I think it's 20% right now, but that's actually what it's sort of been over the last year or two. His team's even strength shooting percentage while he's on the ice is 10%, so it is a bit elevated, and his IPP is also elevated at 81.5%. But either way, some good things to like from the youngster in Nashville. Alex Kerfoot, center, left wing, right wing eligible, 13% rostered, 3 games on the schedule for next week. He's currently playing with Matthews and Bunting, at least until Marner gets back, and he's getting time on power play too. I mentioned him here, guys, just because he's got 8 points, 2 goals in his last 3 games played.
That's good, but I don't know. Yeah, I hate him. I don't know why.
He's on the list.
If I had a list, he'd be on it. I don't know why I hate him, but I do.
It's probably something to do with his face
That's
or his hair.
the only qualification that's needed.
Yeah.
You hate him, you don't know why.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, you're entitled to that, John. I mean, I like him as a streaming option. He is playing a career-high 15:31 time on ice, so and he's putting up some points. He's not a guy I'm going to keep on my roster for long, but as a streamer, especially in a deep league, if he's still around, take a look. Thomas Tatar. Tyler, I know you've rostered this guy before. Yeah. Little Tatar sauce, right?
Little Tatar sauce.
Little Tatar sauce. Okay, 4% rostered. 2 games on the schedule for next week, and I liked him because he's playing with Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt, at least before Jesper Bratt went into COVID protocol, and he's getting time on the power play. It's been a down year for him, but he's got 17 points, 8 goals, and 32 games played, but some prime lineup placement, and he's got 5 points, 3 goals in his last 6 games. So not too shabby there. Jamie Benn. I don't think he did anything today, but prior to these last 2 games, he had been pretty good as well. He had 8 points, 4 goals in his last 10 games, and he most recently has found himself playing with Tyler Seguin and Denis Gurianov. His team's even strike shooting percentage is 5.8%, so it's quite low. His individual shooting percentage is 12.2%, which is right around his career average of 13. I think there's maybe some potential for more from Jamie Benn. He does provide some hits coverage and PIMs and things like that. So if Dallas is fighting for a playoff spot, they're going to rely on some of these guys in the top 6, and he's available in roughly 35% of leagues. Blake Coleman, just 1 game on the schedule for next week, but he's 31% rostered. He got moved back to that line with Matthew Tkachuk and Elias Lindholm recently. How long that's going to stick, I'm not sure, but they've been good. The Flames lost to Carolina Friday night. Coleman had an impressive showing, though. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 PIMs, 5 shots on goal, and 2 hits in 16:49 time on ice. I like him in deep leagues that count hits and PIMs. I think he's a nice option. Damon Severson, 24% rostered. 2 games on the schedule for next week. He's playing with Siegenthaler and on power play 1. He's basically covering off some of Dougie Hamilton's ice time. And he's been good. He's playing the most minutes of his career, 26-23 average time on ice in his last 10 games played. He's posted 8 points, 2 goals in his last 10. Again, team even strength shooting percentage is just 4.9%. And really no significant red flags with his underlying numbers there. So
he's also in COVID protocol.
Thanks, Bruce.
No problem.
It's the worst.
I just gotta crush it, man. Jesus. Okay. I still like Severson, at least while Hamilton's out. Once he's back, I mean, that's kind of, it is what it is. But and then let's talk about Shane Gostisbehere again, because why not?
Starting to be a weekly thing.
This guy's on here all the time, but you know what? He's still just 39% rostered. He's got 3 games on the schedule. They're tough matchups. They play Toronto and then Colorado twice next week.
Look at that pairing.
Tyler,
look at that pairing, though.
Mayo.
He's playing with mayonnaise.
He's playing with mayonnaise.
Dyson Mayo wouldn't play for anybody else other than Arizona.
Yeah.
And that's the first pairing.
Oh yeah, they're bad. As you said before, Tyler, they're bad.
That is bad. That is real bad.
Now, the other thing I should mention here too is Jacob Chychrun is actually still just 52% rostered also. And there's been lots of talk about him being traded. So, I mean, personally, my preference would be to go after Chychrun first. And if you listen to last week's episode, Mike did talk about on Factor Fiction, Jacob Chychrun and where he's been production-wise this far in the season, and he's probably going to bounce back quite a bit for the remainder of the year. So
I still have him, but that's because we count shifts.
Because of shifts. Yeah, I know, because of shifts. I knew it was coming.
Shifts!
I wanted to say
But
it.
really, because of shifts, you play 26 minutes, you get some points, so that's good.
But if he gets traded to a contender, Tyler, you're going to be really happy you held on to him just because of the shifts.
Well, yeah, he'll probably actually get some points, maybe, and play less
to go
shifts.
along with those shifts.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
probably less shifts, but that's
Less
whatever.
shifts, more points. It's kind of a trade-off. It's okay.
Whatever. That's why I'm hanging on.
Good on you. I just really quickly, let's talk about Gossip Bear. He's on pace for 57 points and 15 goals.
Which, I mean, that is saying something for how shitty Arizona is.
Yeah.
That is
That's
something.
something.
That is something.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why he's here again. That's why he's here like every week until he's 90% rostered. I'll stop talking about him. But
He's Tyson Berry
yeah.
from last year.
yeah, the production's there, regardless of what the team's doing. His individual shooting percentage is 9%, so nothing there to be concerned about. Shot volume is actually right where we'd expect it to be. His IPP is a bit high at 77%. I guess the only thing here is his secondary assist rate is 0.76, so it's a bit high. That's going to come down. But all in all, good, solid option. He is producing, and he's available in roughly 60% of leagues. Noah Dobson's the next guy on the list here, 26% rostered, 3 games on the schedule for next week. I'll have to change that. Sorry, guys. We mentioned Noah Dobson last week. He's actually playing on this upcoming week here, which is great. He's got a difficult matchup against Toronto. That's not right either. Sorry, guys. Dobson, he's got 10 points, 5 goals, 27 shots on goal, 10 hits, and 18 blocks in his last 10 games.
Hacks.
What's that?
Hacks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, you nailed it, buddy. Yeah, sorry. I think I was typing those notes at 12:30 at night. 73% power play share, and his individual shooting percentage is 8.9%, which is a bit high for him, but no other real concerns that way. So really like Noah Dobson for next week. Let's just really quickly here. I'm just going to open up the Left Wing Lock app because it's just so simple and so informative.
Oh, boy.
Ad plug.
Sorry, that was a shameless plug. But I'm just going to find his numbers here.
I'm on the Dobson train here since you threw me on the spot there when I had absolutely nothing to add about Dobson. I've added him in 2 leagues, and he's actually been really good for me. So,
Yep. Happy to help, buddy.
I'll remember it forever for how I had to pull all of that out of my ass right on the spot. But he has been really good.
Yeah, it was funny when you threw it over to Bruce.
Bruce. Hey, Bruce. Here you go.
And then Bruce proceeded to just nail it, so that was great.
It's a good team. We're a good team.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we never claimed to be like the perfect podcast here. We're called the Hacks for a reason, so that's why we fess up to it every once in a while. The schedule for the Islanders actually only includes 2 games for next week, just so that everybody's clear.
I thought it was 3.
And it's against, it's just 2, and it's against the Devils and the Capitals.
That's not Toronto.
No, that's not. No, and that's not Colorado either. So, just gonna make a quick mental note there. So there it is. Take a look at Dobson. Regardless, guys, I like him for the upcoming week.
He's been good.
He's been good. Josh Morrissey's the next guy on the list. 51% rostered. I'm not as much of a fan of Morrissey here, to be honest. But 1 game on the schedule against Detroit. He is playing on the top pairing with Nate Schmidt and on power play 1. But we all know that kind of bounces around between Morrissey and Pionk, so keep an eye on that situation. But he's been good of late. 5 points, 1 goal in his last 6 games played. Average of 22-16 time on ice and a minute 54 power play time on ice. 34% power play share. He's adding some hits, 1.9 per game, and some blocks at 1.24 blocks per game. So a bit of category coverage. He's putting up some points. If you're desperate for D-man, if you're playing a deep league, give him a look. And then Brady Shay is the last defenseman we've got here. He's rostered in 12% of leagues. 3 games on the schedule: Philly, Columbus, and Vancouver. He's playing on the second pairing with Pesci. They've got a favorable schedule. He's been a great option if you need some defense. He's got, in his last 5 games played, he's got 8 points, 4 goals, 19 shots on goal, +7, 5 hits, 5 blocks, and he's playing nearly 21 minutes a game. His individual shooting percentage is 7%. It's a bit elevated compared to his 3-year average of 5%, but no other concerns really to speak of right now. So
solid.
Yeah, nice option for next week. And then let's move into goaltenders here, and it's a little bit dicey with the goaltenders, to be honest. I've got Kaapo Kähkönen here, 35% rostered. They've got 1 game on the schedule against Anaheim next week. Hard to say. If Talbot's still out, he's going to play, and he's been good. I'd have no hesitation in playing him as a starter or streamer, at least until Talbot comes back. But I wouldn't drop anyone of significance to add Kähkönen to my roster. Bruce might, though.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Who'd you drop?
Who'd you drop, Bruce?
Well, Talbot hasn't played well, so Talbot's hurt, and they give Kähkönen a bit of leash here. He put up a really good showing here when they were playing in Boston, because they were under siege for a good chunk of that game, and he stood tall. If he keeps winning, Talbot's going to be on the bench. So I picked him up, and I'm gonna see if see how long they ride him for.
Who'd you drop from?
Gorgiev.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah.
Well, that's a good move, I think. I mean, Gorgiev's not going to really be a starter once Shesterkin's back. So
no, surprisingly, he has actually played pretty well for the last few games here. But
speaking of trade targets, the others should look at, Gorgiev is one.
I actually read that today.
Yeah, I was on that a while ago. Like that's probably like 2 years ago, but I don't know.
Would only be the second backup goalie they got from the Rangers.
Yeah. Well, if they would have run the other one out of town,
hopefully they treat this one better.
Still be in good shape. So.
Yeah, we'd be killing for Talbot right now.
Yeah.
This is what we do, though. Just talking about Kähkönen here really quick. In his last 4 games, 3-1-0, 1.93 goals against average, a 943 save percentage, and a 4.54 goals saved above average. So yeah, Bruce, I'd probably drop Gorgiev for him too. And that could be a real a real payoff for you, though. Like, if that works out.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, because up until Talbot's injury, he had let in, I think they said, between up to 5 goals his past 3 starts.
Mm-hmm.
So now that he's hurt, they'll give Kähkönen a shot. And yeah, if he keeps winning, well, he's going to keep playing. Talbot might see a back-to-back.
Yep. Well,
so it might be a bit reversed there.
For our leagues, Bruce, I hope that really doesn't work out for you. But and then let's move on to the next goalie we've got here. Is Anthony Stolarz. Kind of as we mentioned earlier, he's here as an option, but realistically, he won't be one once John Gibson returns. Saying that, though, in the short term, the Ducks have 3 games next week. 2 of them are going to be tough. They've got the white-hot Pittsburgh Penguins and the Minnesota Wild, who they've lost 2 games to against this season. Stolarz has a 6-2-1 record on the year with a 2.13 goals against average, a 932 save percentage, and a 6.08 goals saved above average. So lost to like there in terms of Stolarz and his play and his peripherals, but it's only for as long as John Gibson is out of the lineup. And then some other goaltenders to consider here. We just mentioned Alexander Gorgiev, Pavel Francouz for the Avalanche, Ville Husso for the St. Louis Blues, and Martin Jones for the Philadelphia Flyers. Any other goaltenders, guys, that you want to mention? Nothing, nada?
Nothing.
Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Well, that does it this week, guys, for episode 42. Got nothing else to cover there, but I did want to mention too, we had a couple people leave reviews this week.
Beauties.
Yeah, no, just some really nice reviews, really very much appreciated. I just want to give a shout out to Jordan. Thank you very much. That was an awesome review, man. We really appreciate it. I know you'll be listening over your coffee on Monday morning. So that's awesome. And then we had another listener. I'm just trying to find his name here. But I guess he's been a long time subscriber of Left Wing Lock, and he really likes the work that Mike and the guys are doing over there. So he also left a really nice review. I just wanted to just mention him and say thank you. We really appreciate it. Obviously, it helps the show out, and like I said earlier, guys, it just kind of makes it worth our while when you hear stuff, really positive feedback like that. So thank you again for submitting, and thank you to everyone that submitted questions this week. We like the fan interaction, listener interaction. It gives us something else to do besides yak about waiver wire pickups. So there we go. There we have it. That's another episode in the bag, guys. Thanks. It was a good one. Probably a bit long, and some screw ups like we always have, but that's all good. So
positive.
All right.
Positive reinforcement really helps us. Really.
Definitely.
We need it. We need it. Like
God,
like Tyler needs the money, his small commission for his gambling habits. We need the positive reinforcement.
Oh God, help me. Help me, please. What was that phone number again? Put it on at the end. I'll need it.
1-800-GAMBLER. I'll make sure that's in the show notes for you, Tyler.
Check that out.
All right, for all of our listeners, guys, check us out on Twitter at FHHacks and on Instagram at FantasyHockeyHacks. Send us an email, fantasyhockeyhacks@gmail.com, or check out the website. All of our waiver wire picks and all the details are available there, fantasyhockeyhacks.com. Thanks, guys. Another great episode. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Take care.